Hey, welcome to this Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. Just kicking off the hour here. Top news of today, Elizabeth Warren out of the race. Before getting into all of that, let's take a look down the street at the New York Stock Exchange, because the other big news today is the market down 1,000 as we speak. The Dow Jones down 1,000 points. Last week we spoke about it a lot. The Dow had all kinds of problems. The bears were on attack mode. The bulls were on the run. We gave up about 2,500 points, just over 10% loss. We broke right through correction territory last week. And today, when we look at the markets, earlier this week, we were up 1,200, largest single day point gain in history. Then we're down the next day. Yesterday, we were up 1,100 with a really strong close. But appears that there are more cases. We're up 1,100 with a really strong close. But appears that there are more cases of the coronavirus popping up here in the United States. And that's causing more fear, fright, and hysteria. And the markets are not handling it well today. We'll keep you up to date on all that stuff. If you got some Bitcoin in your portfolio, that's something pleasant to look at. Bitcoin up over 300 points today at 9,100 as we speak. So you may see a little reverse correlation there with the market down, Bitcoin up. Maybe a good offset to have in your portfolio. We'll keep you posted on all of that stuff. Now, with Elizabeth Warren out of the race, Mike Bloomberg out of the race, Pete Buttigieg out of the race, Amy Klobuchar out of the race, the field is cleared. The oceans have parted, and it looks like now we have the fight that we've been looking for. I call it good versus evil. Joe Biden, not that he's my candidate, but on the Democrat side, we're going to see what Democrats want to be right here. Do they want to be socialists like Bernie Sanders and attack millionaires and billionaires? Or do they want to follow behind the Pied Piper, Joe Biden? Now, let's keep in mind, Joe Biden had a wonderful bounce. South Carolina sent him on a rocket shot here. He had some surprising victories on Super Tuesday, really catapulted him into the lead. Still waiting for the final numbers to come in from California, but it looks like even after California, Joe Biden's going to be in the lead by 50 or 60 delegates, which is really good for him. Now the question is this. Elizabeth Warren is up for grabs. We saw Mayor Pete drop out, went with Joe Biden. We saw Mike Bloomberg drop out, went with Joe Biden. Amy Klobuchar went with Joe Biden. We had Jen Kearns on yesterday, former communications director for the Republican Party for the state of California. She broke some exclusive news with us that it was her information that Barack Obama himself called Mayor Pete and asked him to step out and get behind Joe Biden. So it seems like the establishment is working its way towards making Joe Biden the heir apparent. He was the guy. They're afraid of Bernie taking over this party. And now Elizabeth Warren is up for grabs. Let's take a look at what Bernie had to say about Elizabeth Warren.
There's been a lot of personal vitriol online, right?
Yes.
And people are pressuring Elizabeth Warren to drop out. Do you want to be a unifying figure, and what's your message?
No, I don't think people, look, Elizabeth Warren is a very, very excellent senator. She has run a strong campaign. She will make her own decision in her own time. And in terms of vitriol on the online, I'm disgusted by it. All right. Look, I think the Twitter world is an opportunity for people to debate issues, have good, honest debates about issues, but not to make vitriolic attacks on somebody because you disagree with them.
I don't know. Sounds to me like he's trying to butter her up, trying to take a little heat off her, and it kind of looks like he's making a plea for her to get behind Bernie. And the scary thing for Bernie is if Elizabeth Warren somehow gets on the Biden train, because she was kind of, being talked about as like Bernie light, and to have a woman who's already an elected official, who has some of those real progressive left tenets in her, Biden-Warren may be a combo that the Democratic establishment thinks is a winning formula. Now, me personally, I think that Hillary Clinton, she recently announced a podcast. She's been doing some more television appearances. And I think she might be waiting in the wings here to somehow get on the ticket with Joe Biden as well. Now, Hillary was recently on Jimmy Fallon, and she kind of dismissed one candidate. Take a look.
Young but charismatic and dynamic and breaks barriers.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, these are candidates who are. I want to pick that one up right now. I'm like, wow. Wow. What was? These are candidates. These are all the candidates, including
People who were in, people who still are in.
I don't know. Many people are saying when she reached into that bag of tricks, the name she pulled out was Bernie Sanders, and she didn't want to say that name. She kind of dismissed it, whipped it behind her. She may be setting herself up here with the establishment to get on the ticket with Joe Biden, and she wants to get back in that White House one way or another, or at least that's what it seems to me. Every day on Liquid Lunch, we try to show our purple side, show that we can have a thoughtful conversation with people who we don't share the same political feelings. And every so often, we have on one of my favorite Democrats, Tim Collins. And just a couple months back, he was for Joe Biden. Then when Bloomberg came in, he thought that Biden was on the ropes. I was ribbing him about that. And we ran into him last night, and he had a few words to say about the resurgence of Joe Biden. Take a look.
Hey, Johnny T. Tim Collins here, your favorite Democratic political analyst and general manager of Bobby Van Steakhouse. I just thought I'd remind you of our discussion last week on Liquid Lunch. I said that Joe Biden was going to beat the tar out of everybody, and he did just that. I said he took a shellacking in New Hampshire, he took a shellacking in Nevada, he took a shellacking in Iowa, and now look where he is. He won South Carolina, and he's in the driver's seat. Next prediction, if he wins Oregon and Washington, it's all over but the crying. Stick a fork in Bernie.
That's my good friend Tim Collins, and that guy's got the beat of the street. He's right here in the financial district talking to some of the biggest titans of the world every day, and he made a bold prediction. It came true. Now joining me is another great friend of the show. Paul Barchitta joins me now. He's a professor at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. Great friend of mine. Our family's been friends for many years. And Paul, thanks for joining us for Liquid Lunch today. So you are, aside from being a great football player and professor at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, you're an author. You have a couple books out there on advertising and marketing. This was the craziest thing I've ever seen, that Mike Bloomberg just came in throwing around hundreds of millions of dollars. And it seems like he wasted $500 million. And he was paying people to put, comments on his social media and building meme stores for him and all this stuff. Doesn't seem to be effective to me. What was wrong with his campaign, and what do our viewers need to know that has to be right with their advertising campaign to be a little more effective than Mike Bloomberg?
Right. The question always comes down to, what is the most effective form of advertising? Is it television? Is it radio? Is it social media? Is it billboards, outdoor advertising? And the answer to that question is, it's the one that works. So whatever works for you, that is the right mix you need to find to do that. What a lot of people haven't brought up that much is that, 20 plus years, almost 20 years ago when Michael Bloomberg ran for mayor, I believe he spent close to $70 million a long time ago on television advertising, and it worked. It got him elected, and they might have followed that model again.
So, Paul, there's some weird stuff going on here when I look at the numbers, and I see that, and I'm going to take a look at Virginia in particular. Joe Biden spent like 180 grand. Mike Bloomberg spent $5 million, and obviously the message of Bloomberg wasn't working for him because he outspent the guy, like 500 times, and he didn't win a single county.
Right. I think what was interesting, and again, this is going to go down, obviously it's a big topic here up in Madison Avenue. This is going to make it into as a marketing case study in every textbook and every marketing class of what not to do. What I thought was fascinating was how Michael Bloomberg was able to change the message. As soon as an issue came up with the campaign, whether it was the issue that with the video and the audio of stop and frisk, or the non-disclosure agreements regarding sexual harassment, it was amazing to me how quickly they pivoted, and within a couple of days, you saw very different commercials that kind of addressed that. That is not easy to do from a production standpoint, and it also is extremely expensive to do that. So when you think about it, where is this going to go down in the future? I think the one thing that Mike Bloomberg has done, he's become, I don't know if you want to call it, John, a noun or a verb, or he's a punchline, because now in the future, when a campaign is pitched to a client, they might say, well, let's Bloomberg it, and just blitz every form of media that you can have.
So he's a verb now.
He's a verb.
We got Bloomberg.
We got Bloomberg.
So what does this term reach and frequency mean?
Great. Two of the biggest foundations of advertising are reach and frequency. Reach means how many potential customers are exposed to the advertising. The greater the reach, the higher the reach, the more expensive the advertising. So when you think about why would a company spend $5 million on a Super Bowl advertisement for 30 seconds? Because the reach on Super Bowl Sunday is the greatest reach of the entire year. The Super Bowl is the #1 television program annually, and you'll get close to 120 million people in the entire country can be exposed to your message. So that's defining reach. Frequency means how often do you run the advertising campaign, and the Bloomberg campaign is now the poster child for frequency, where you were being just bombarded on every form of media, not just television, but radio, but iHeartRadio, streaming video, radio. And what I thought the other night, when he took out 3 minutes of airtime on Sunday night on 2 networks, that is unheard of, and just the amount of money that went down the tubes for that is really it's just unprecedented. My other point is that the networks, television, radio, they're not happy that he dropped out. They wanted him to stay in the race.
Right, yeah, of course not. They wanted him to hang around forever.
$500 million if he would have stayed in the race. So it's just an interesting test case to see where to go right. And obviously, when he got up yesterday, he realized it wasn't working, and he pulled the plug on the campaign.
Talk about a hangover. You know what I mean? After you spend $500 million, he probably needed more than a liquid lunch yesterday.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And I've had more than one liquid lunch with this guy right here. We've been friends since we were little kids.
Yes.
And he's out there on the campus of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy as a professor, educating the young men and women who are going out there and fighting to keep our freedoms and liberties that we enjoy here. My friend, thank you very much for joining us. Your reach is great.
Thank you very much.
And we have to improve your frequency on liquid lunch. Okay,
Absolutely.
you can't
Anytime.
come every few months. I need more Vito in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to come back after this with some more liquid lunch, and Rafael Manuel from the Manhattan Institute is going to be here about Bernie's plan for nationwide bail reform. Rafael, up next.